Patricia Carr, auditioning for the role of the Lincoln Assassination historian, 914-432-7434. Mary Surratt's story is complicated. She was a devout Roman Catholic her entire life, attending Mass regularly, ensuring the proper Roman Catholic education of her children at nearby boarding schools, and even helping to raise funds to build the St. Ignatius Roman Catholic Church back in her home state of Maryland. At the time of the Lincoln assassination, Mary Surratt was a widower running her boarding house in Washington, D.C., and doing so out of necessity. A couple of years earlier, her husband, John Surratt, a violent, abusive alcoholic who squandered his family's entire fortune, died suddenly of a stroke, leaving Mary with a mountain of debt and a few properties mortgaged to the hilt, including the boarding house in Washington, D.C., which was actually a beautiful four-story townhouse that was converted to a boarding house. Unfortunately for Mary, her boarders consisted of well-known Confederate spies and activists. Among them was Lincoln's assassin, John Wilkes Booth. Many of these men had been associates of her late husband, as well as her two sons. Her eldest, Isaac, who in 1861, at the beginning of the Civil War, had left for Texas to join the Confederate Army, and John Jr., her youngest, who 4 months after his brother had left for Texas, quit seminary college, where he was training to become a Roman Catholic priest, to become a Confederate courier, transporting messages and money and contraband across enemy lines. The Surratts also owned a tavern conveniently located about 12 miles south of Washington, D.C., in what is now Clifton, Maryland, but at the time was Surrattsville, so named because John Surratt owned the majority of the businesses in that area. So it really was no secret that the Surratt family, particularly John Sr. and his two sons, Isaac and John Jr., were well-known Confederate sympathizers and activists, already on the radar of the Union government. And that was the world in which Mary Surratt found herself when her husband died. Those were the people in her inner circle with whom she naturally relied on for her income and who spent time with her on a regular basis. So it really was no surprise when the 9-member military commission appointed by the War Department of the United States of America found Mary Surratt guilty. Guilty. I mean, really, how could she not be?